morning wherever you're going and get there safely.
You may not know this, but it's Homelessness and Hunger Awareness Month, and by some estimates, as many as 3.5 million Americans, including more than 1 million kids, are homeless during any given year. Florida, California, and Texas top the list. That's right, we're near the top. Here with everything you need to know about what's being done and what you can do to help and to maybe help curb this is Shari, our lifestyle lawyer. Thanks for joining us on such a difficult topic to talk about,
but important.
Yeah. It's so important, and especially when you hear how many kids are homeless. Did the real estate crisis contribute to all of this?
It really did, Roxanne. When you drill down in these numbers, we see that economic and financial causes are the #1 reason for homelessness. Medical reasons are second, but the third reason now is the high cost of living. And that's why we're seeing that particularly in areas like Florida and Texas and California that were hard hit by the crisis, but real estate prices have just gone through the roof since then and are simply unaffordable. And you're right, when back in the 80s, you know, we would typically think of homelessness with mental illness, which often was the case back then because of deregulation of those institutions. But today, more and more homeless folks are families and also military veterans. So it's a different problem with the need for different solutions.
And there are agencies, as the problem has changed and the shift has focused, working to help this, but what's being done knowing that the problem can't be solved overnight?
Well, there have been changes that you're not really going to see. So a lot of changes in the way funds are distributed, requiring state and local agencies to work more collaboratively and efficiently, but also changes in the philosophical approach with a heavy emphasis on homelessness prevention. So for example, recently here in Florida, we had the Florida Association of Realtors actually organized a statewide tour to bring awareness to this issue, which in part helped to increase funding and also some policy changes. In Los Angeles, the government there actually recently declared homelessness an emergency and is pledging $100 million to help solve the problem. New York also, it's a huge issue. When you go to New York, you see about 3,000 homeless people on the streets. What you don't know is there's over 60,000 homeless people in New York City who are relying on the homelessness support services. So the problem is really much bigger than it seems. In places like Washington, D.C., the big issue is that homelessness, a lot of the homelessness behaviors like sleeping on the street have actually been criminalized.
Yeah.
So there's a huge move to decriminalize those again, because throwing families in jail for sleeping on the street is not going to solve the problem.
It gives you goosebumps when you say throwing families in jail, that families are homeless. So we're not an agency, we're individuals. What can one person do to help?
Well, and particularly over the holiday season, obviously donating money is something folks can do. A lot of folks over the holiday season like to sponsor a meal, maybe a holiday meal, you can do that. Also donating goods. If you go to any agency website, they usually list the specific types of goods they can use, clothing or household items or toiletry. And then of course over the holidays, a lot of folks like to personally show their support by showing up to help serve meals. But in the long run, it's going to take policy changes to help address this problem. It's not our grandfather's homelessness.
It isn't. It's so sad to hear about, especially as you head into the holidays. Shari, thank you so much for joining us.
It is 8:50 right